Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Pattison Ave Phanatics Show. I am your host, Tom Kelly. With me, as always, Joe Marks,
Good morning, Philadelphia.
James Scorza,
Hey,
Damon Celine,
Good morning. Happy Saturday.
Frank Finnegan,
it is a morning.
Joe Scorza in the building as well. Gentlemen, it's been a while. It's been a while since I've been in studio. It's been a while since I've been hanging with you guys. Been on call and some different stuff coming up the last couple of weeks. We are back here in the Edge of Philly Sports Studios to reflect on not only a game but a season, a season that not many of us expected. I don't think, other than maybe James Scorza. But
It's all good, brother.
a season. Before we get into and try and break down the game and kind of give our opinions and our thoughts, I'd like us to kind of go back and reflect on this season. Like Joe, I'm going to start with you. I know you're busy over there, but I wanted to ask you, what about this season when you think you'll look back on it, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, about this team? What was special about it to you? That was it because of the run? Really, kind of, I don't want to say came out of nowhere, but it feels like it did. Like what are you gonna look back fondly on this season?
Overshooting expectations. I've given a lot of thought to the idea of what this season meant, and I know that a lot of people are like, "Oh, we were right there. We should have." And everyone's doom and gloom, and for me, it's a matter of I knew Jalen was good, and I've known that from day one, but he even proved something to me that the amount of work, the amount of mental edge that he has, both for what he has to do on the field, but how he's raised the level of talent around him. It's not always about one man, it's about the whole group of men and how you can rally them together. Look, this was a team that not that long ago was predicted to only have 4 wins in a season and was supposed to be the second to third to last team in the league. And they've proved all the doubters wrong. And they've over exceeded expectations. And I think that now for them, the hard task at hand is how do you exceed the bar you've already now set?
Right.
That's going to be hard.
Yeah.
But no, I see this season. I will look back at this season as overshooting expectations, and in a good way, because it gave excitement. I would have been happy with one playoff victory this year. I would have been happy with going in and being in the wild card. But we got the first seed. We got 2 playoff victories, convincing playoff victories, and we got to play a really good game in the Super Bowl. I'm not disappointed whatsoever.
Nice. I like Frank. How about you? I know I can see it on your face. Maybe you have a little different tone than Joe.
Well, I pull out my prognostication ball every once
I
in a while,
understand.
and I didn't have one for the Eagles this year. And I didn't have one because I wasn't convinced that Jalen Hurts had the arm. I thought he had everything else.
I was going to come to you at some point in the
Yeah.
show about that, because I don't want to say you were a Jalen detractor.
No, I wasn't.
But you were a please prove me.
Please
show me.
Show me.
This X, Y, and Z that I need.
After week 3, I was convinced. The kid is he's phenomenal. At that point, I still didn't think. I still wasn't sure where they were going to go. And I think a lot of this, when I sit back and think about it, I think a lot of it has to do with them hiring Sirianni as a coach, because he was, as much as Andy was an unknown when he was hired, Sirianni was a black hole.
Yeah.
Nobody knew anything about him. And by nobody, I mean us, the working public. We knew nothing about this guy. And you look at it and go, okay, they made the playoffs last year, and they did it by having a pretty good end of the season. But one thing was pretty evident by week 5, week 6 this year. Sirianni can coach.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Andy Reid exposed his inexperience in the Super Bowl. But two things were settled for me, and I'm not. I can see us being back in the Super Bowl maybe twice in the next 4 years because I've gotten so much confidence in the way Sirianni approaches his game and the way Jalen Hurts has responded as a guy who wants to be a franchise quarterback. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that Jalen owns that room.
Yeah.
And 100% owns that room. There's no detractors, and any detractor gets stomped out, and usually by his policeman. I mean, there's so I look at the this whole experience that we had this year. First of all, it is in my time the greatest Eagles football team I've ever seen assemble, without a doubt. And what makes me think they're not going to be like any other Super Bowl runner-up team that falls apart next year is that they did it with such ease, and it wasn't like they were struggling to win games. They beat the brakes off a lot of teams this year. Now, that being said, people say, well, your schedule was easier than next year. You got a tougher schedule. Yeah, guess what? Those teams that are coming in next year, they all got the same kind of money problems we do.
So they probably have worse money problems.
Well, in San Francisco's case and in Dallas's case, absolutely. And they both better make the right decisions in New York, or they're going to have problems too.
Yep.
So I'm not worried about where the Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to win the division next year. I don't see a better quarterback in the NFC other than Aaron Rodgers.
Agreed. And now you're hearing rumors of him going to the Jets. And
when he comes out of his 4-day black hole, who knows where he's going to go? I mean, the guy's he's
he's a knucklehead.
He's nuts. But my overall opinion of what happened this year was, I mean, who didn't want them to win the Super Bowl? Who didn't want? But I knew, and I said this before the bowl on a show before the Super Bowl that if they didn't go into the fourth quarter with a 10-point or with a two score lead, it was bad news.
Yeah.
Because Mahomes is just magic.
He really is.
Yeah. And you can't. Anybody who blames that game on a referee is an idiot.
No,
they lost that game on a scoop and score.
You can't lose
a play.
You can't lose a game on one play.
Jalen's fumble was a dagger, and the punt return.
You just got beheaded. You got beheaded on a punt return.
How about you, Dame? You all right over there? Very somber.
I'm not. No, I'm not all right.
I could tell because you were here at 8:46 this morning.
I had a lot to say early on, right? Two things. The game hurt, no pun intended. It hurt. I said it because it hurt more than the Tampa Bay game itself. That hurt more than Tampa Bay because the Eagles outplayed them. The Eagles scored 35 points, which they normally do. And we'll get into the other stuff later that flipped the game.
First time in NFL history a team scored
35 and lost.
Yeah, and this guy had 300-something yard passing, crazy yards running. Like, he was phenomenal. Phenomenal. And but the season, I mean, I'm not there yet to my mom, I love her, and she says, well, they had a great season. And she's right. I'm not going to dispute that because they did. They had a fantastic season. I'm just not in the space to go there. I'm not in it because I didn't have any expectations in the beginning of the season. I did, and you guys heard me say I had some things that I wanted to see from Hurts. Checked all the boxes and plus. So I think that moving forward, that definitely is the hope. He also strikes me as a guy, and I know everyone's going to be talking from now until it's done. I really seeing him. I'm not saying taking a hometown discount. I'm seeing him taking a fair offer that's going to help the team be successful in the future.
Strikes me as the type that would do that for sure.
And I think that moving forward is going to set the precedent, if it already hasn't, for the team because he knows what he wants to do. I do agree with Frank. I was just thinking about this the other day. I equate this team to the Andy Reid's teams, going back to the NFC Championship game at the very least. I see them going back to the next year.
Yeah.
So that's a positive, right? That's a positive. I know it's going to be some changes, but yeah. So the season was definitely a joy. By week 8, I believe. I'm like, okay, they're the real deal. But the game itself, that's going to be a while before I can get over that.
No,
I thought that was their game, and I do equate the ref a little bit in that. I despise referees, and I mean that. I despise them.
No.
The NBA ref is the guy, Joey. I think I said this. He's the guy that comes.
Tony Brothers.
the
Yeah,
Tony
he's
Brothers.
not your
Well,
brother.
no, he's not a brother to the city of
Yeah.
brotherly love. So the ref, the guy that used to be on the pickup game, he had the latest Jordans with the wristbands and the headbands and the new shorts, but he never got picked.
Well, people don't know.
People picked over him.
Well,
He
people
got
don't
in the game,
know.
but he had to wait 2 hours.
What people don't know is Dame has like
Yeah, right.
in his basement, he has a wall full of like posters of like officials both from all 4 major sports, and he's like, I hate you.
Referees
I
were
hate
like the
you,
hall
I hate
monitors
you.
in school.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they wanted.
I was a hall monitor.
They were the
To
guy.
my point.
They were the guy that always got beat up.
Yeah,
They were the
they
guy.
were. They were.
You know.
Again, I was a hall monitor.
That explains a lot, Joe.
And the other thing is, and it's going to come up later about the groundskeeper. We're going to get into all that. I know we are. That officiating team, it was mentioned that they averaged 12 penalties a game.
Yeah, it's funny because I have a Kansas City fan that I work with every day, and before the Super Bowl, he's like, I fully expect you guys to win because there's going to be 12 guys on the field. This guy calls games against us all the time because of something that Kelsey had said 5 years ago. And I go, what's that? He goes, that guy's not qualified to be a referee at Foot Locker.
Wow.
And he said that publicly. And he said, never since then, that guy's been throwing flags against us.
Wow.
And he said he hates Kansas City. So when I saw him this week, I went, I thought we had the ref in the bag. And he looked at me and went, I can't explain it.
Yeah.
I said, maybe because there is no explanation. Maybe because the guy he's human and makes mistakes. I can't blame a referee for what happened. That game was over way before that call. All it did was eliminate a chance for us to maybe tie the game.
Disagree with that. I disagree with that because as a fan of the sport, that same hole happened in the first quarter. I don't want to take James' time, but we'll get to that. And also, as a fan of the sport, we have to see Jalen with the ball in his hands with 1:40 minutes.
I understand that. But
so I'm saying,
but even the player admitted he helped.
Right, but you can call that on every play. But I'm saying at that moment, it didn't impede the play, Frank. It did not. I can see it.
No, I get it. I get what you're saying, Dame. I get what you're saying.
Let him play.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But that's not the play that turned that game.
No, I'm not saying that's why we lost. I'm saying, but compounded by the fact that didn't help.
No,
didn't help
there was a lot of things that didn't help. The field conditions didn't enable our best asset on defense, our speed.
94-year-old
It completely neutralized our speed on defense. And I found out something this week that I didn't know. And yes, Mr. Turfman, the 94-year-old
groundskeeper Willie.
They've been growing that turf for 2 years.
They grew that turf in Jersey.
That was worth it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like this guy planned it 2 years ago. They had no idea 2 years ago that it was going to be the Chiefs and the Eagles. It's just that's the turf they picked for it. And
how is it that the Chiefs didn't have to change their cleats and the Eagles did though?
Because, well, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Kelsey said it. Jason Kelsey said it. He said when we were out in practice on Tuesday, we were slipping around, and we all decided to wear thicker cleats, and our practices went better. I mean, I don't think Jason Kelsey's a liar.
No, I'm not saying he is. I didn't know that. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And so to blame the turf and the turf guru on what happened. No, you blame the NFL because they've been growing that turf. They've been growing that field for 2 years, and it was a disgrace to the NFL that is your product that you present on Super Bowl Sunday. That was a disgrace.
The interesting thing that was said that I kind of agree with, the NFL is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and you get a 94-year-old man to do the field for the biggest game of your year.
And then the head groundskeeper of the Cardinals he was part of the staff, but he wasn't the head.
He wasn't in charge of
groundkeeper.
it.
He wasn't in charge of it.
Was our groundskeeper there?
No. Oh, they were.
There were. I'm sure they have to. I'm sure they have to include both team staffs. So maybe our grounds crew missed that detail.
By the way, the guy that the sod father, he is Kansas City based,
That's what I was saying.
and he's also the guy that, if you guys
Is this
remember,
what he calls himself, or did you just come up
No,
with
they,
No,
that?
that's
they
what he
gave him
calls
the name.
himself.
That's what
They
that's
gave him the name.
That's his
they gave
name.
him the name.
Foods,
Yeah.
good morning.
They
Foods.
gave him
So,
the name.
Order.
This is
If
not
you
Joey's.
guys remember the commercial back in the day where someone's
Yeah,
riding a John Deere lawnmower and he misspells Chiefs
Yeah.
and puts chefs, that's that guy.
Oh,
That's
Wow.
him.
wow. George Toma.
And so
Toma.
for me,
Toma was a Tuma.
it's like, okay,
It's not a tool.
Not a Tuma.
we need to, like, I kind of go back to like a
And
baseball
we're not age
perspective.
discriminating here, people. Please don't take it like
No, we're not.
Yeah, we are. You're
No.
94 years old. You've done some great things in your life. Hang it up, God
that. Be
damn
an
it.
advisor. You can't be the head guy. I'm
No.
sorry.
That was the NFL's call. They spent $800,000 on that field, and they
Goodell-
wasted
and
every
Goodell
dime of it.
says to him, "Hey, you're not a Chiefs fan this
What's that?
because Goodell says to him, allegedly, I'll say it like that, that you're not a Chiefs fan.
Yeah, that's a lie.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Raj. So, James, real quick before we move on
Yes, sir.
from this, give me your thoughts on the season. How you'll look back on this.
Let me go first with the Super Bowl. Me and my dad basically said it in the second half. That series is going to tell you all you need to know in that second half, and basically the better team won. I got to say it. I mean, Mahomes played his ass off. I think the one thing I took out of it is that, look, I mean, it kind of reminded me. I mean, I wasn't born at the time, but Joe Montana in '89 when he got beat for 3 straight quarters, and the fourth quarter he just turns it on like that. But the season, I mean, it was a lot to be thankful for this year. After hard to believe a year ago that, especially around this week, that sorry about that, close family members not doing well, and having 2 Philly sports teams to go to the promised land is like something that I had to get away from that real reality, because it's something that I mean, I'm really glad to say that the Eagles. There's a lot to be thankful for, like I said, and I
Agreed.
think the one thing I loved about it too is that I was not big on Hurts like Frank was, but I can say that I was a real firm believer. Like, probably maybe that Minnesota or Washington game told me, like, yeah, this kid's gonna be special. And yeah, I mean, hopefully next year we go back there again, and like, I hope the same thing like you said, Dame. Like we go back to a championship every year, like Andy. I mean, this team can.
It's got that feel.
Oh yeah, for
Like,
sure.
nine of the 11 starters are offense are signed.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
So I mean, they're not gonna miss a step on offense.
No,
The teams better be ready because Hurts is gonna be a year better, a year more experienced. I wouldn't. It's not gonna be a good thing for the rest of the division.
agreed. Now,
Well,
real
let me
quick,
ask you, God, before I
Go
go
ahead.
any further. If they had the parade this week, Wednesday would have been a beautiful day.
Would have been a
That's what
better
it's gonna
day.
be,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
It was a
because first they said it would have been Thursday, but they knew rain was coming,
yeah,
so they had moved it up to Wednesday.
Oh god.
yeah.
I can't think about when the parade was gonna be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I saw the
Agreed.
weather. I saw the weather. I was like, of course they don't. Of course the parade could have been today.
So,
Gosh,
so
that day.
before I'm going to pause the Eagles real quick. Before we move on,
Sure.
I would be remiss did I not bring up the fact that an absolute radio legend retired yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Angelo Cataldi, for 33 years, has been the voice that most of us, when we turned on sports talk radio, at least before the Fanatic came around,
Mhm.
in the morning time on your way to work,
Yeah.
while you're having your cup of coffee,
Rookie and the rookie.
and for 33 years he was the voice of all of us. One of the people that I modeled what I do when we get together and do our show. He is one of the people who I modeled my work ethic after, because he was an absolute psychopath when it came to making sure he had every drop right, every sound clip, every interview, every question. He plotted out his entire show for 33 years. Yeah, would get up in the middle of the night to go back and watch a game that he had gone to bed for. Had his interns in there at the crack of dawn in the morning. I produced one of their shows. He's now, he's a producer, Kyle Quinn. It will be weird not flipping on that dial and hearing Angelo's voice, but I just wanted to bring that up. Wanted to say congratulations on an amazing career and good luck, for everything for him in retirement.
Yeah, he's.
Yeah,
I mean, we started. I mean, I'm older than you guys, so you wouldn't remember this, but before WIP was really WIP as it is now, they had a show called The Morning Sports Page, and it was usually Ron Reed who hosted it. Bill Lyons would be in on it. And it was before Angelo was even on the air, And I mean, Eskin was on WWDB. That it was a baby in pregnancy, of things that were going to happen. And Angelo came on with Tom Brookshire, and it was Brookie and the Rookie, and I loved it. I loved Angelo for up until like the last 4 or 5 years. And I mean, I just couldn't take him anymore.
I guess he became a caricature.
Yeah,
of
he
himself.
did. He did. And I mean, but that doesn't erase the impact he's had on sports talk radio, because everywhere else in the country has modeled what that man has done. He is a pioneer. If there is a sports talk Hall of Fame, he should be the first bust.
Yep.
Put into the sports talk Hall of Fame.
I agree with that.
I mean, Angelo is. I mean, I used to read him in the paper. He was a great writer. One of the greatest articles he ever wrote was a 3-part thing he did with Glenn Macnow about NFL players and the injuries they sustained post career, what their injuries had left them to. And I mean, it won a Pulitzer.
They talked about that today.
It won a Pulitzer.
He and Glenn, and how he said the reason why he left the Enquirer for that project that they were working on. He and Glenn, they were talking about it. The editor, who he couldn't stand, he mentioned the guy's name. He said he's reading. He goes, "Oh yeah, your paragraph 9 should be your intro." He said, "I can't work with this guy anymore." He said that guy started the wave for him in '94. It's funny. I recall, man, I was 9, 10, and I recall listening to Bill Campbell.
Yeah.
On the Sixers, right? Like I was always, for whatever reason, as a kid, I love music to this day, and I'm always. But I remember finding somehow the Sixers game on the radio, and then finding, of course, Mike and Merle. But I got, so when Angelo, and I remember him from the Enquirer, of course, because I would read the Sunday Enquirer and read the paper every day, and my cousin showed me how to read box scores and the whole nine. Yeah. But Angelo, as far as the personality, I got connected with. At that point, I think I was still in New York before I moved to California, but it's when the whole thing with McNabb, when he got drafted.
Right.
So that was my real introduction to because I wasn't in Philly at the time. I was like, by this point, this is before social media. You saw the clip. Oh, the Philly fans.
The Dirty 30.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you come
Sean Young.
Yeah, and I would come home and I would tune in to 610 at the time. It was 610, And I would say, "Oh, this is the deal with that." And then by that point, cuz it came down later. I mean, no. Before him, it was Mac and Mac.
Yeah,
it was Mac and Mac for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, Angelo was a pioneer. I called him once. I called him
a couple of times.
I called him once, and it was on the Bynum because they was getting on Bynum. I'm like, "Come on, man, lighten up on Bynum." Little did I know.
Yeah,
you know that WIG was the birth child of Al Morgani.
Yes.
Yep.
He's the one that got them all to come.
Yep.
I mean, and
did you listen to their final show yesterday?
No,
I listened to the whole
some of
thing.
it, yeah.
I listened to the whole thing.
I did.
Fuji says he also started the great sports debate on Prism.
They talked about that.
It was a great show
with John Stark. Not a John Stark.
Jason Stark.
Jason Stark.
Jason Stark was on there. Yeah.
Mac now Stark. That was a great show.
Yeah,
that was
absolutely. It was before his time.
Like to give you the rundown, him and Eskin actually shook hands yesterday.
No.
Yes.
Wow.
Really?
Yes. On the last show, and it was very apropos. And they actually live streamed the last segment on the show.
Okay.
Coughlin did a song to The End of the World, but he did it in Angelo's voice, and it was The End of My Show by
I met
R.E.M.
Angelo Dowdy at a Jackson Brown concert.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't think he was cool enough to go to a concert.
I met him outside of Chicky and Pete's one day. I was down there in my FedEx truck. It was quite a while ago, but he's they're all caricatures.
Yes,
He's
they
tall,
are.
right? He's pretty tall.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, he's a giraffe.
But he's very humble.
Yeah, he is.
So's
He's a really nice guy.
so's
really nice
Eskin
guy.
actually.
Yeah.
No, he is. I've seen Eskin out.
I think Angelo had another show on Comcast Sports. Was it
did.
the Angelo Cataldi show at
It's a
Chickies
talk
and
show.
Pete's?
It's a talk show.
Yeah, it was a talk show, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
No,
Like
he's a god.
Well,
Yeah, he's
a mountain
he was a
goat.
great.
what got them over
colleague.
was Wing Bowl.
Yep.
Yeah. Any of you guys
Al.
ever go to one?
Nah,
I
never did.
Yeah,
I've been to two.
I went to the
I went to
last
two.
one. I went to the one before the Super Bowl that they won.
Okay. I've
The
been,
last Wing Bowl ever.
yeah. No, I didn't go to that one, but I've been to two, and I took this one guy that I worked with. His family was down from Alaska. This was hilarious. This is the one where sloth, Preg
Oh no!
Right. So we're at this. That was Wing Bowl 13, I think. And so I'm sitting there with these 5 guys from Alaska, right? Who've never experienced anything like this in their life, right? And we're sitting there, and there's 25,000 crazy people, girls taking their clothes off. I mean, it's nuts. And
It's 6 in the morning,
these
mind you.
guys are eating wings, and the one guy looked at me and goes, "When's the game start?" I said, "Dude, this is the game." And he was like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, you're going to watch fat guys eat wings."
So I will keep my friend's name. I'll keep my friend nameless, but he knows who he is. So the Wing Bowl that we went to, we started pregame at his house at like 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And he lives in South Philadelphia, not too far from Joey.
I know who this is.
And so we walk down and we get down there. And if you go behind his couch right now, you will find a large check for whatever the sum was for the winner, because somebody turned around and handed it to him, thinking that he was part of the entourage.
Oh my God!
And he walked home and walked down Broad Street
with the
Wing Bowl check, and it's behind his couch in his basement.
That's got to be put up in his man.
I think he showed me it. When we were over there.
He
for-
doesn't he doesn't cheer for the Eagles.
No,
Ooh.
What?
no, he's
not a cowboy.
Yes,
he's behind enemy
He's
lines.
one of the biggest you'll ever find.
Oh
actually.
yeah, he's got a star on his car.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's one of those guys.
Yeah.
Is it associated with a Yankee sticker as well?
No.
No.
Duke fan, maybe?
What?
Duke fan,
Wait,
maybe?
whoa! I like Duke. I like Duke.
No,
Of course you would.
So and
I
actually
like Duke because of a kid that played at West Philadelphia High School.
Yeah, me too. Gene Banks. That's what I used to like.
Gene Banks.
And he
So,
left.
but
Why I
Dennis
follow
Bernardo-
Duke.
and Dennis
Why I follow
Bernardo.
Duke. Yeah.
but yeah, so that my Wing Bowl story was and I got right next to Ric Flair at this particular Wing Bowl.
Woo!
Wow.
No,
There you
that
go.
was like 16, wasn't it?
By the way, Gene Banks' team lost to my Roman Catholic
Oh, yeah, that was
Kaelites in that
Yeah.
city title game.
Yeah, I went to
That's
school.
what-
The way
His sister was in my
the
class.
face you
I
just
hated
made when I told you my friend was a Cowboys fan is a face I just made when you brought up Roman.
Exactly.
Oh, why do you think I brought it up?
I know. That's okay.
Well, I gotta ask Tom, if you're Cataldi and I'm Al Morgani, are you willing to do this for another 28 years with me?
Absolutely.
All right.
it.
110%. And James is Rhea.
I was going to say John Johnson, but okay, I'm good with that.
Oh my God, it's fantastic.
Oh,
That's
man.
beautiful, man.
Oh my God. All right, so let's get it back to the Eagles, as Rob
Yeah.
Ellis would say.
Absolutely.
What is the most glaring need for this team going into next season?
I'll go-
I will give you what I think. I think you need to revamp your special teams. In my opinion, it's for me, special teams definitely did not help us at all in the Super Bowl, and not much at all this year.
Well, that's what happens in when you get to this elite level of play in the league. Your biggest flaw gets exposed,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
that was he fixed everything this year except special.
Yeah.
And to me, special teams comes down to coaching, and it was a little disheartening when they rehired. They said this guy's safe for next
Yep.
year.
Well, they said they didn't want him to be the scapegoat.
Well, okay. So you don't even bring it up in a press conference.
Just put him in Howie's old
And-
office
and-
when Chip was around.
And 2 weeks later, you make him the assistant information director of offensive futures. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, it's a made-up title.
Right. So to me, Howie has had a knack for drafting in the trenches guys. But this year he's got to go out of his box. And they have to find a way to get the best cornerback in the draft on this team because they're going to lose Mayberry. There's no two ways about it. Mayberry had his show me year, and he showed him.
Yeah.
He's going to get paid, and the Eagles aren't going to be able to afford him.
No, I agree with
because
that.
they got other priorities. They got to keep Hargrave and they got to keep CJ, and so they need a rookie corner who's going to take over that number one spot when Slay is gone in 2 years. So he's got to go draft somebody who he's never even considered drafting in the first round, and that's a cornerback.
What do you think, Dave?
It's funny that when you talk about special teams, I noticed that early on in the season. I didn't like the special team set. I just didn't like the way they were playing early on in the season, which for me is like, never drafted anyone. So if I can see it, I know they obviously can see it. I don't know why they ignored that. I think that is partial coaching and partial personnel. It's interesting. Marigold's just won his case this week, $43 million against the league. And we haven't had a player like that since.
Right.
We haven't.
What did he sue the league for?
So his injury with his knee or something like that.
Something with Rothman.
Misdiagnosis. Yeah, they misdiagnosed.
Oh,
who was the guy on the Eagles Super Bowl team where they won with the long hair? He was an animal. Brayman. We haven't had a guy like Brian Brayman either.
Right,
No.
You need one or two guys. I don't know if they were trying to make N'Kobe Dean that, but I don't think he's for that role. I just think that they need to find.
He made the saving tackle on the punt return.
But what I'm saying is, like,
hopefully we see him in the linebacker corner.
Right. I don't think they're gearing him for special teams. I'm with James. I think they're gearing him to be on the field.
I would go even as far as to say we don't even have like Americos.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point, Joe. So we need a player. And what they did was they actually, if you recall, Miracles came from Seattle.
Yeah.
So they went ahead. They may have to do that. They may have to go grab a guy off someone's, and still draft as well, but maybe grab a guy.
Yeah, they're going to have to do that.
Because that's going to affect a lot of things. Now, I was listening to Best Show Ever yesterday, and Tyrone said something interesting. It struck me. He's like, do you go heavy on offense? It struck me.
I heard that.
Because Jalen's only going to get better. So do you go out and outscore people, or do you go? It's a fine balance. Now, I would like to see them at number 10. We know we have 2 picks. Take a cornerback.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to go out of the box. You're going to sign Gardner Johnson. You're going to re-sign him. You're good with safety for a while, right? So just go ahead and use that pick. I know he likes to go grab another offensive lineman, defensive lineman. You can get that in the second, maybe third or fourth round. And then we all know how he plays on draft day, right, TK? He's going to move around anyway, right? He's going to move around. So knowing him, he could possibly keep number 10, draft that cornerback, trade out of the first round, get 2 second-round picks and another third. Now you can go ahead and get your defensive, offensive linemen out of that. I mean, I could see them doing something like that.
I think they can trade back out of that 10 spot to maybe, 13 or 14, still get the cornerback. They don't have a second and third round pick this year because they traded them away.
That's what I'm saying. You can trade out.
So I think they can trade back.
Which they probably will.
Still get their cornerback. And with the last pick in the first round, they can get the edge rusher they need.
And then Fuchs says definitely a DB in the first round. Why can't the Eagles ever find an elite returner who can be an impact? What happened to that kid who was in the Olympics?
Oh, he's on the practice squad.
Yeah, why? Like,
he's coming up next year.
What happened this year? Why?
I've been saying that he should have been on
Kevin Allen, right?
Yeah.
Kevin Allen. Why didn't he get any tickets?
But
I have no idea.
They want to get Quez a shot. They want to get Quez a shot. Quez admitted he's been hurt. Listen, one thing about the Eagles, you guys know this. Howie's loyal, sometimes to a fault. He's loyal.
Yeah.
He's loyal. He's you know what? Quez, I'm going to give you a shot. Meanwhile, he has the other guy grooming. He's grooming. Think about this.
Guy's an Olympic runner.
Yeah, but
doesn't mean
he can
doesn't mean he's an Olympic catcher.
Who we have years ago.
All he's got to do is catch it on the kickoff.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Giamona, Willie G.
They will get those comp
Ronaldo
picks for the
Nehemiah.
rounds they don't pick.
We have Ronaldo Nehemiah.
Joe Sheeran says they will get those.
Ronaldo Nehemiah. He was one of the greatest hurdlers in Olympic history.
Yeah.
And he was on the Eagles, and we thought, my God, this guy's going to be
I was
great.
thinking Reno Maya,
And
too.
he had he had hands with holes in them, and I don't mean where the fingers are.
Yeah, Frank's not lying.
So Joey Sheeran checks in, says they will get those comp picks for the rounds they don't pick in right now.
But they don't get them till next year.
No, they do get them this year.
It's not what Howie said. It's not what Howie said.
No, Howie said it on the.
No, he said we'll have comp picks.
No, he
for
said
next
we'll
year.
have an extra pick next year, and we'll have the comp picks this year.
Yeah. They still need to get up into the second round. They got to get back up into the second.
He
so
will.
They're gonna have to.
I think they'll trade out at bottom of that first round.
Didn't we know Mahe bust tables at Chicky and Pete's?
I believe he did.
Yeah. No, I'm legit. That's
I
legit.
thought he
James.
was still
No,
doing
no, no.
that.
I believe it.
But no, one of the things that I was saying, I was rooting for Devin Allen to get that position this whole season. Like I was puzzled by why they went with Cubby. But here's the thing. This is another reason why I said they should.
I do remember Gizmo Mike.
Look at the guys that were quality, more than quality punt returners. Dante Hall, sprinter.
Yes.
In college.
Yes, he did bust those tables while he was playing. I thought so.
He did.
Devin Hester.
Right. I remember now.
Devin Hester, sprinter. Mm-hmm. These guys redid the whole punt return game.
Right. And it's not like you're catching passes. You just got to field the punt.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. There's a rhythm to that they have to learn, right?
So teach it.
No. Come on, man. If you're not a football player,
right,
and you got to field a punt, and you're watching 11 guys charging
coming at you at 100
and you're not used to doing it, it's a different thing, man.
I caught a ball watching him and 4 other big men come barreling at me.
Well,
believe me.
Let's, I mean,
no, but
you're not the brightest bulb in the box, brother. I love you,
but you still light up a room when you walk in.
That's right.
So you have to learn that a little bit, and I think and like I say, he one thing about the Eagles, they run it like like baseball sometimes. I want to boom the guy, I want to get him ready. I mean, look at Gainwell. Think about Gainwell.
Yeah, Gainwell. They brought him along.
They drafted Gainwell
I think
last
that kid's
year.
ready to take the ball for real.
Yeah,
I fully expect him to this season, upcoming season.
He showed a lot.
Let me ask you,
unless I'm pretty sure he's going to be your premier back next year because I don't see Sanders being here.
That's what I was going to ask you.
What
are you guys going to do with Sanders? Or do you just let him just walk?
I don't want to, but they're not going to have a choice.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing.
So did he? I was telling James how I look at was he missing holes, or he just wasn't hitting them in this past game, Sanders?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Because someone said he just didn't hit the holes.
It didn't appear.
Well, I'm going to tell you the holes.
Or were they not moving them?
This
Frank?
this was a product of that turf. The holes weren't there. Okay. The holes weren't there.
They weren't getting that push up front. They were sliding back.
Both lines were suffering the same way. I can't judge. I can't blame the turf. No, I blame the NFL for that because they didn't allow those teams to play to their full potential.
I'd rather for them to take the game out to the daggone desert.
Yeah, play in the dirt.
Play the daggone dirt, Joey. All right, with the cactuses. All right,
the coyotes.
With the coyotes.
Actually,
then to play on that field.
Actually,
that field, man.
It's interesting because I was listening
with the cactus,
this week
cactus.
with the Caldy show,
cactus.
and the guy that's notorious from the Dirty 30.
Kenny
from the Dirty 30
Kenny.
called it.
Yeah.
He said, "You're in the freaking desert.
Right.
Try the goddamn thing out. You're in the desert."
Yeah, that's true.
It's 110 degrees in Arizona.
Everything you ever hear about Arizona is dry heat, dry heat, dry heat.
I worked out there.
Feel it up by putting it outside.
It's not.
I worked out there,
guys,
but it's not dry heat like It's just dry.
It's not that the field was wet. The grass was like putting green grass. Very slick, very hard packed.
And
It was almost like a rolled putting green with tougher roots.
Wow.
And it's you can't. I mean, unless you have golf shoes on, you try and make a cut on a putting green, you're falling down.
Try to play football on golf shoes.
Forget it. Maybe they should have pulled out golf shoes.
Right.
but to TK's
track
point,
shoes with spikes on them.
As a multi-billion-dollar entity, the biggest game in the world right now. And you can't have.
Nobody's ever going to say this. Nobody's ever going to say this at the NFL. But I'll bet they picked that grass because it was the most acceptable to the paint that they were going to put on.
And
I'll bet they picked that grass because they said
this
grass is going to take the paint better than any other grass. It's not going to wear off when the players play on it, and our image in the middle of the field is going to be there perfect the whole game.
Let me
I
ask you-
guarantee that's what they did.
Well, let me ask you a question. So Andy said they said Andy complained about because the field because Kansas City played there earlier this year. So okay, here's a couple of things. One, they prepared this particular field 2 years ago. So what was wrong with playing on the field that was already there?
They had the same problem. Their field, the Cardinals' field is a mess to begin with. So they
Does it have to do with the
well, I mean, you know how they grow their grass there.
No.
That field is literally sitting
Do they
on.
use a humidifier? Do they use a blue light when they grow their grass?
Their
I mean, what
their field is literally.
Joey
sitting-
I knew you were going there.
Joey got
I
it
knew
when
you
Uncle
were
Frank
going
said.
there.
It's literally sitting on an 8-inch concrete pad that they slide out of the building and water. Wow, it's on a concrete pad on rollers. I've seen it. When I was truck driving, I saw it. The pad was out in the middle of the parking lot, it slides right out of the building. That's where it gets its sun, and they water it, and it's sitting on a concrete pad, so it doesn't promote deep root growth. Okay, so they have to get a grass in there that has shallow root growth and tight root growth, so it doesn't come apart because it's sitting on concrete.
So let me ask you this: the link is grass, correct?
Correct.
yeah.
Okay. We're not even going to talk about the vet. We know that was concrete. Get that. But so the link is grass.
Uh-huh.
Why don't they use the same procedure?
Yeah, it's not a permanent base. It's sitting on concrete.
No, I get that, but I'm saying like to alleviate these problems, right?
They don't
You
care
have
about
a million stadiums around the league. Like you just go to somebody, what are you doing? Let's do that and get it over. Like what is
Yeah.
Well, you
growing
can't,
grass?
you
for 2
can't grow.
years
You can't
on
grow.
wood? Like I don't understand that.
You
I'm
can't
sorry.
grow
It's all about
regular.
the money. I
You
think.
can't grow regular ryegrass on that surface because the root system.
And
needs
this
to be
what?
too
It's
deep.
not a retractable roof, so they needed a
Yeah,
way
it
to bring.
is.
It
It is
is.
a
It is
retractable.
retractable
Then
roof.
Well, but they don't retract it when they're growing. They keep it closed to keep the environment.
But
because
yet they kept
it
it
costs
open
too much
during the
money
Super
to
Bowl.
cool the building if they open up the roof.
Yeah,
So
they-
they
It was
slide
open
the
during the
grass
Super Bowl.
out.
They opened
I
it
don't-
during the
I
Super
don't
Bowl.
See, TK, you're with me. Exactly. That's where I'm at. I'm like,
My
I
question is,
hear you guys. But I'm
my
still
question
going,
is, the next Super Bowl,
I don't freaking
the
know.
next Super
You know.
Bowl is in Las Vegas. Do they do the same thing with that grass?
Ugh.
Is it really? No, the NFL is not going to play a game on artificial
I'm
turf.
done.
No, they did
I'm
it.
done.
No,
They've done it.
I know that, but they wouldn't do it again, would they?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
They did it in
Jesus.
Atlanta.
Honestly, I'd have rather had artificial turf than what
Yeah,
they
I would've.
friggin' played on.
Atlanta
would've.
has
I'm
turf.
like
I
you.
would've.
I don't.
Minnesota had turf.
But not the Atlanta doesn't have turf in their new place today.
No, not in the new
The
place.
new place, it's real grass.
No, in the new place it's real grass.
So again, why don't just make this standard when you build these? It's too much
Yeah.
money. See, everyone has the same thing.
So I have a feel like Rondé Barber running down the sideline against the Bucks stuck in my head. Hassan Reddick,
the only game I've ever walked out
flying past like he's on skates because he can't
Yep.
dig his foot in and get the
Yep.
bend that he usually gets. Will be of this Super Bowl. It'll probably be the thing that's burned into my
TK.
brain.
You have a team that had
Yep.
70 sacks,
I know.
zero
None.
sacks, and
The other-
zero turnovers.
The other team
in the
had
Super
60.
Bowl.
The other team had 60, and they couldn't get him either. But they don't have edge rushers like we do that rely on
Yeah,
their
did you
speed.
guys hear what Sean Payton said about the push with Hurts? He said if the NFL doesn't ban it, he's going to run it every play.
What's the problem?
He's an idiot.
Yeah,
I didn't get-
heard somebody.
But they are petitioning to outlaw.
What's the
I
problem?
don't
Why?
understand
What's
it.
the
Why?
problem?
You know what the problem is? You know what the problem
They
is?
can't
This-
stop it.
No, this is what the NFL said. The NFL said it's not an aesthetically pleasing play.
I don't care. It moves the chains.
Neither is the kneel down.
Listen.
Neither is
What
the
did I
kneel.
It's the extra point.
What did I
kick.
just?
Oh, how
What
about
did,
that?
what did I
That's
just get
such
done saying
bull.
about the
It's all
turf?
it's all about optics. for
What
the
did I
NFL.
just get done saying about the turf? They
You're
picked the
done with
grass
the
that would
geeks.
accept the paint the best.
No,
Okay,
done with the geeks.
there's a play that is
Money,
not
I guess it
aesthetically
is.
pleasing,
Looks
so
me
they're
it's
going to
money.
eliminate it. So, and I firmly believe that Jordan Mailata had a lot to do with how that play is constructed.
See,
Because that looked so much like a rugby scrum.
Yeah.
It's not even funny. And I
Yeah.
think he said, "Okay, guys, this is how we do it."
this is how we do it back in Aussie.
Right. and he taught them how to do a rugby scrum, and it was like, wow, this is simple.
No, you're right.
Yeah, it's like you lock
Right,
arms and,
right,
and yeah.
right.
Frank, you're right, but that brings another element to the game. It goes back, it's funny. It goes back to, and I never liked this. I thought it was great when they did it. When Pippen and those guys would fall out of bounds and call a timeout, the NBA got mad and they took it away. I'm like, no, that's creative. Because what's the difference of a guy on the ground with the ball and he calls timeout? What's the difference? Right? It's the same thing to me. So
And
They're taking
keep
advantage
in mind,
of the
keep in
rules.
mind, if you take this away, Goodell is trying to expand the NFL to the Europe and other countries.
Right.
He's shopping it.
Right.
Australia, if you're sitting there and that is a play that reminds people in Australia of rugby, it's like
it's a win-win.
Well,
And
right.
it
I'm
didn't
gonna tell
dawn on
you-
me. It didn't
I'm
dawn on
telling
me
you,
until people started
they
talking
can
about it.
take
But
that
that's what
play
they were
away.
doing.
They can take that play away, but there's a real easy way around it. The guys behind the line don't touch the quarterback. Touch everybody else. Just move the line forward. The quarterback will follow you. As long as if it's the tush push, you're pushing the quarterback and you're helping them. Okay, so nobody touches the quarterback,
Yeah.
and we push everybody
Okay,
else.
but
And the
It's
gap's going to
moving
be
the
there.
chains.
if we're gonna take
And we're good at it.
if we're gonna take a play away, and me and a buddy of mine have had this debate for years. If we're gonna take away a play that's not aesthetically pleasing, let's take away the kneel down, the victory formation.
Yeah. You can't play. You can't do a kneel down. Can't do it. Yeah,
Let's take that one away.
Because how aesthetically pleasing is that with a minute and 40 seconds left? in the game?
Right.
You know, that's,
Aesthetically pleasing. When I watch football, I don't worry about aesthetics.
no, I worry about
I worry about the chains
time
moving
management
and getting to the end zone.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I worry about. Who are these people, man? Like these people. These
They're marketing guys.
Can I talk to them?
No.
No, you're
gotta
not
meet
allowed to.
They're
Money.
in a seclusion.
Oh, really?
Dame. Only money
Can
talks
Joey
to
and
them.
I
Only
can
money
New
talks
York.
to them.
Just want to talk.
Only
We don't want. Joey and I just
Only-
have a conversation. That's all.
no. You know,
It's AC/DC song,
here's
brother.
here's I'm going to tell you. I mean,
Right, Joe?
thinking like a marketing guy. Here you go. Put your brain inside a marketing brain. Okay, you're watching the Super Bowl, and you're watching that first half, and you're watching the Eagles get first downs on fourth downs that normally punts would be made. Okay, which means you're putting the ball in Mr. Excitement's hands on the other side. No, the Eagles are getting a first down when they shouldn't be getting a first down, and they're keeping the chains moving, and they're keeping the time going, and they're keeping Mr. Excitement on the sidelines.
Yeah.
The marketing guy wants Mr. Excitement on the field. They don't want to see 11 guys pushing Jalen Hurts' ass across the line to get him another set of downs. They don't want to see that. And they pay bills. So that's what they say by aesthetically pleasing. What they mean is we're not making enough money off of this.
You know that the old
Money
saying,
talks.
if you want to fix it, then stop it. Like meaning, if
Find a way to defend it.
right.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
Make
been-
it so that the percentages aren't in the offense's favor, and it'll
Exactly.
stop.
Didn't they used to say the same thing about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with the whole skyhook? They're
Skyhook,
like,
yeah.
if you want to
Yeah.
beat it,
Wow.
beat it.
There aren't too many 7'4"
so-
guys in the league who defend that.
So going back, so the Eagles, right? Who it was said before the game, the goal is to keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands,
Yes.
keep him off the field.
Right.
And by the way, and I get, playing double and by the way, this is the way this team has played all season.
Right.
All season. Right. They the Green Bay game kept the ball out of Rodgers' hand. This is how this team has played all season. So all of a sudden, marketing guy wants to come along. He hasn't watched the game, TK. He hasn't watched the OTAs.
He doesn't care.
He hasn't watched preseason, but his numbers says this is the way it goes.
We're going to get more clicks if that guy's on the
Okay.
field.
And you know what? They're going to lose me as a fan.
Well, you're a purist.
At some point,
You're a purist.
because my
You are. You're not watching the game for beer, dude. You're not
No,
watching
I'm
the game
watching
to buy a Lexus.
Right.
You know, you're watching the game because you love the game.
Yeah.
that's it.
On
Okay.
your heart.
I don't
You know?
need analytics.
wants to
That
sell-
does nothing for
He
me.
wants to sell Lexus. He wants to sell more beer. He wants to sell more burgers at Burger King.
He's
He
getting
wants to sell more Doritos.
He's
He doesn't
getting
give a shit about the purists.
but he's already getting. He's getting all
Yeah.
But you know that
That's a good
there's no such thing as enough yachts in his world.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm serious.
No,
There's
you're
no
right.
such thing as enough yachts. If I got 6, I want 8. If I have 8, I need 12. Why? Because I need to spend one each night on a different yacht. You know, I mean, that's
Frank,
that's
you
the way
said-
they think.
You said this one time before. you said that the league is run by a bunch of billionaire white guys.
Yeah,
Right.
That's the way this league is going to go.
absolutely.
It's going to go how they dictate it. To
It's
go.
their money.
Look.
It's their money.
At the end of the day,
And
to circle back to the topic that we were talking about, that grass was criminal. It was a criminal law.
Yep.
Speaking of criminal laws,
There-
David Archeri
We
Esquire,
need to
call
get
him
him
out.
on this. We were robbed.
610-565-0300. Workman's compensation, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, and criminal law, like the grass on the field.
Does he deal with mental anguish too? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and like before we transition into the Sixers, because I would like to transition into the Sixers here coming up
We got
coming up
talk
on the
Phillies today.
on the All-Star break. I do have some Phil stuff coming up too. Do you notice what stadium that they played the Super Bowl in? It was State Farm Stadium.
Oh yeah.
Who
Dude,
does
I'll-
the State Farm? Who does the State
I'm
Farm?
with
I
Stadium?
you,
got my
brother.
marker to draw
Patrick
mustaches.
Mahomes.
I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. That is a funny ass commercial.
It is.
Hang
I like
on.
when he tosses it.
I'm going to say something before we move on.
Okay.
I am so glad that you are gone and in Arizona.
Ah,
Don't
yeah.
ever
Yeah, Gannon.
step your
Gannon,
ass
He is.
back.
He is
in-
next season.
Don't ever step your ass back in Philadelphia.
is
again.
next
Not your
season.
ass, but your ass.
Yeah.
Yo ass.
because
I'm gonna love
Gannon
playing his
good.
defense next year.
Oh my God, yeah.
I'm gonna love playing. His defense.
because you're a fraud. And you pulled the wool over everyone's eyes, including mine. And I am so glad you're gone.
Yep.
Bye bye.
Yeah. So Gannon, this is what I don't get. It's the Super Bowl. It's it. There's nothing left. And coaches often say, "I want to put my players in positions to be successful." Well, you didn't. Against the Giants, when Mayberry quick the interception, right?
Bradbury.
I mean
Bradbury.
excuse me, Bradbury quick the interception. He sent Epps up the middle, right? I would never compare Daniel Jones to Patrick Mahomes. That's disrespectful. I'm not doing that.
No,
But what I'm saying is, Patrick Mahomes, Joey, never felt this. I mean, in the second half, okay, this is puzzling. I said it's because we controlled the ball. They set for a half hour. Jalen fumbles. They get the ball back. Jalen scores, so he set for a half hour. Now he comes out in the second half. They score. They scored on every possession, James. Every possession in the second half.
Yep.
How does that happen? You have to do something differently. This guy never felt this. Hey,
Because
man.
your coach was halfway out the door.
Right. And I'm not down for hurting the quarterback, but hey, Frank, I'll take a penalty.
All right, I'm gonna take.
Just so he can feel me.
I'm gonna do.
Just so he can feel me.
I'm gonna take
And
the
I'm
devil's
saying,
advocate
Hold
position
on.
here.
What I'm saying is, as a coach, how do you have some pride, have some kahunas?
By the way-
I can tell you how.
Passion.
By the way,
Let me
Tom,
feel him.
you shouldn't
Let me
feel
put
good
something
about
on him.
Jonathan Gannon either, because he spit on the Eagles by saying that the Cardinals were the real bird gang.
Okay.
Where did he say that?
Yeah,
He said
man,
at
I
his,
heard
at his press conference. But
No, he said
No.
that.
here you go,
Yes, he did.
Dave. Now I'm gonna take the devil's advocate position here. You are Jonathan Gannon. You are a slave to defensive analytics. Okay, because he is. He's a slave to defensive analytics. And the first stat that pops off the board when you're preparing for the Kansas City Chiefs is the number one quarterback against the blitz is Patrick Mahomes. So you don't blitz him because he's got the best percentage, the best win percentage against the blitz in the league. Hands down, it's not even close. It's like a 30 percentage point difference.
Frank, what makes a good coordinator?
I understand a guy who can adjust, but I'm trying to tell you what Gannon thinks. I'm not. This is not my position. Okay, this is not my position. I have a 30,000-foot view of this. Okay, I've disassociated my personal feelings of that piece of crap out of it. The fact that I said piece of crap means I really didn't disassociate. I'm trying to take a 30,000-foot view on why he saw it that way. It's the same exact reason why on play left and play right, when they went in motion, Andy Reid knew exactly what those players were going to do. That's why he called those plays the way they did, because the players have been trained and drilled to go with the motion because that's where the guy's going to go. This is what Andy Reid's offense does. Well, Andy Reid went, well, you know what? As soon as he cuts and he turns his helmet away, double back. That's exactly what they did. And the cornerback who was going on motion didn't follow. And it's because they weren't looking. They weren't looking at the player that went in motion initially. Both of them, if you review those plays, as soon as the defender turns his head towards the end line, the offensive player turns around and goes right to the empty space.
Sirianni threw Gannon under the bus for the first one and then praised the Chiefs for the second one.
Well, no, that was a fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame.
I mean Sirianni's just taking the bullet for the second one, but he threw his coaches underneath.
What's up, Sean?
I watched the rerun of. I couldn't watch.
And I can't. No.
I didn't watch the game. No, I'm talking about. I watched the rerun of Jimmy Kimmel last night with Patrick Mahomes on it, and they showed the play where they were running around in a circle, and then
that was stupid.
And he said, "Why didn't it work?" He said, "Because number 42." He was talking about Epps pointed it out.
Yeah.
But what it did was it was a setup. So let me go back to what you said about him being a slave to analytics. Here's a problem I have with that. If you're going to allow numbers to determine how you coach, you'll never be successful in my mind. And here's why I say that. Analytics doesn't tell me that Patrick Mahomes, we know is a great quarterback, was injured 2 weeks prior with a high ankle sprain. Analytics doesn't tell me that. What my eyes tells me is this. I'm going to attack him as they did in the into the first half and put pressure on him. So at this point in time, I can't even look at analytics. I have to look at the game. I have to feel the game. So as a coach, what are you going to learn to feel the game?
That's not
and I'm not talking
coach.
about analytics. I'm being honest.
I hear you.
I hear people go analytics, that like nails to a chalkboard to me, because you're not coaching. You have to feel the game.
Yeah.
Pat Riley, Phil Jackson. That's what made those dudes great coaches.
Okay. They're gone.
That's what. But I'm saying, no, Frank.
They're gone.
I understand.
Look, away from this with sports.
It's never going to go away.
It's destroying.
It's never going to go away.
Because you know the other thing. It allows guys like that to get jobs.
It's ironic that you guys said that.
Damon, I got to tell you,
it's those guys like Pat Riley and Phil Jackson, and I don't even add a Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who view the game
right
as it's happening, and yes,
Bill
those are going
even
away.
Andy Reid.
Right.
Andy
Those
Reid.
guys are going away with the dodo bird.
Yes,
However, if you want to be a great coach, maybe you should take pointers that's the direction you should go.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and this comes back down to the paint on the field. Those coaches are not listening to what the game is telling them. They got a guy who went to Yale whose job was numbers, and he's telling them this is what the numbers say. And you watch the Eagles all year long. Were the Eagles a sound defensive team all year long? They got 70 sacks. They were really tough to play against. That was numbers. Okay, that was numbers. What the problem with analytics and being a slave to analytics is it doesn't allow you to adjust. You can't think. You stop thinking. You allow the numbers to do your thinking for you because this is probability. This is what's going to happen because this is the way that coach usually does it. Unless you get a coach like Andy Reid, who's infinitely more creative than that and goes, this guy is going to defend this play this way, and he's always going to defend this play this way because this is what he does, and he's not going to change. So I'm going to change something and screw him up. And as soon as I guarantee you, if you went back and looked at the tape earlier in the game, they ran a play with a wide receiver in motion. The defender didn't respond to it, and they went, "We're going to come back to this play later, and we're going to get a score on it." I guarantee it.
That's why you had a couple of wide open guys trailing out of back into the play.
They ran that play before they scored on both scores. I guarantee it happened because they knew that Gannon wouldn't adjust to it. So he wouldn't tell his guys.
It's interesting, Tom, because so I don't have the sight to see the game, but I can hear it.
Right.
And I kept hearing the adage through the commentary, "Wide open."
Yeah.
I'm like, why is anybody wide
why
open?
is anybody wide open?
Joe, it's a shame you couldn't see what happened because as soon as the play happened, I looked at my son before Mahomes threw the ball. As soon as the defender kept going and the wide receiver went back, I went, "This is a touchdown." He went, "What? Touchdown?" He was like, I said, the defender never looked back at the guy he went in motion with. And then They did it again on the other side because
Why would you
we
go
already
that?
no. What, I'm going to tell you why. Because they fooled the cornerback on the one play on the one side, and they didn't do it to the guy on the other side. He said, "Well, that guy
Right, but if you're
it's
Andy,
gonna,
why would you go away from that play? Why
well,
wouldn't
no,
you
he
go-
didn't go back. He didn't go back to Slay's side because he knew Slay wouldn't fall for it twice.
Right.
But we can get Mayberry
Yeah.
because he's still doing the same thing. Slay would not have fallen for that play twice. So they go, well, then go the other way. Smart. That's Andy Reid.
Yeah.
I want a guy that's going to come in and just coach football, man. You know,
That day's over, bro.
I can't. Nah, I'm not gonna agree with that.
You don't have to.
No. And I said it to say, you know, people believe what they believe. That's fine, but I can't believe that everybody's going to use that same mantra because it shows that it doesn't work all the time. And so you have to have. Do you think Sirianni's an analytics coach? I mean, completely analytics?
Not
No,
completely.
Not
no.
completely,
he's
no,
not.
but he definitely uses it.
And I'm not saying that Phil, and I don't know what those guys did. I know one thing about Phil Jackson. He allowed it to play out. I know one thing about Parcells. He allowed it to play out. So at some point,
Well, they're guys that allowed their eyes to tell them what to do.
right? So if
You know?
if you're going in with this, if you put a script of analytics before me, I can go and coach that. So am I really coaching, or am I just going off of a script?
But see, that's
Right.
that's what sports is littered with now. It's littered with it in baseball. It's littered with it in basketball. I haven't seen it approach hockey yet because hockey is such a fluid game that you can't apply those kind of analytics because so much happens. It's
That's what
organized
I'm
chaos.
saying.
It's organized chaos.
You don't know what the player's feeling like that day. You don't know.
They don't. The numbers
I
don't care about that. They don't. And I know it's a harsh thing it's a harsh reality to come to, Dave.
You know what?
But
let's
where.
put robots out there.
But I mean, they're talking about putting robot umpires.
Let's put robots
I mean,
out
come on.
Yeah.
Then they'll lose
know?
it. Then they'll lose me.
Maybe they'll have
they'll lose
robot
you.
basketball.
They'll lose you, but they'll get the 10-year-old
I-
kid.
I-
And that's what
I-
they're worried about.
I said
You
this
spent
on
your money,
another.
you're done.
I said this on another show because of the flag football Pro Bowl. I said, what the NFL just announced? In another year or two, they're going to do the foosball table for the Pro Bowl. I'm like, if we're getting to that point,
Yeah, sooner or later it'll be electronic football.
yeah,
Yep.
a little magnet.
It'll be VR, virtual reality. All of us will be able to play
Yeah, right.
professional football.
We'll be playing Tecmo Bowl. on Super
Real
Bowl
quick.
Sunday.
So I do want to transition to the Sixers. Dane, I've been hearing some rumblings about the Sixers maybe taking a flyer on Kevin Love. How would you feel about that?
I wouldn't mind it.
Coming
Yeah.
off the bench,
I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, absolutely.
got
Yeah.
height and
Wouldn't mind it.
and shoot and a shot.
I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't
Yeah,
mind
I
that
wouldn't
with
mind it
Kevin Love.
No D. Zero D. They need perimeter D. Absolutely need perimeter D.
He wouldn't be a perimeter
Nah,
defender
he's
anyway.
a guy that's
No, I
going to
don't
come
think
in
so.
and give you 10 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
Barely 10.
Right.
Take
Think,
up some
do you
space.
yeah. I mean, do you think they're looking at him because they're trying to get rid of Korkmaz? Or
Could be.
I know he's requesting a trade.
This is my first hearing about it. I know
traded
K-Love is about to be bought out. I didn't know the Sixers were interested. Funny what Frank was saying, perimeter defense. Like I'm liking this kid Jalen McDaniels. I didn't know too much about him.
I did.
But from what I read, and then what I've been seeing from the past 3 games, athletic, has a nice 3-point shot, corner 3-point shot, can move
So
the ball.
him and his brother are both in the league. I liked his brother a little bit better than him, but I'll take one or the other. They both
6'9".
have really good length.
Mhm.
The other brother starts for the Minnesota Timberwolves, Jaden.
Okay.
And he's, Jalen is still a serviceable athlete. I just think his brother is a little bit better. He's got a good shot. They're both very wiry, athletic players. It's the stretch 4, like we've been talking about for like 2 years. Is like it's an athletic stretch 4. Now you're not going to get like a dynamic player like a Maxey from Jalen McDaniels, but you're going to get a very serviceable stretch 4 off the bench. That's why with the Kevin Love, Tom, like I'm trying to figure out because as we get closer to the playoffs, we're going to start talking about how deep is Doc's bench going to be. And usually we say 8, 9, maybe at the most. So it's like 3 or 4 guys off the bench. So I'm thinking, okay, you're going to have Maxey, probably. You're going to have Probably McDaniels. You're probably going to have either Harrell
Bang bang George Niang.
and Niang. And I'm like, so if you get Kevin Love, where does he fit in? Because you need to have a big guy. I mean, they just picked up Deadman,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Deadman's just a feel around. I think he's not really a guy who's going to get all that amount of time. But I think the Kevin Love's better years are behind him, and there was one guy who
Like 8-10 minute guy.
I heard one name out there for the buyout market, and I brought this up last week, and I would be kind of interested depending on the circumstances. DeMar DeRozan. And that would be an interesting guy to even bring off the bench. Just because he's a guy that I feel like has some, stock in the game. He wants to win a title.
Yeah, here's something disturbing I heard on ESPN. I can't remember the guy who said it, but he was referring to a comment made by a Celtics coach, and he said the Sixers are not that complicated. You pass the ball more than 3 times, and they quit on defense.
That's what Durant said about them. Here's what I say to that. That's fine. People want to say that. This is a different team on many levels. This team is built for the playoffs, and that's fine. People don't see it now. It's okay.
No, I see it. I told you they're going to the finals.
I told my brother. No, I told my friend. I said the Sixers are going to be the one to win the championship out of all this. We just went. I believe
I don't know if they can beat the Suns.
I don't think the Suns are going to go as far. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
The Sixers right now, quietly, are the 4th best record in the league. Quietly, which is good. I've been looking at the Celtics and the Bucks. You're going to have to play either one of them, so there's no getting around that, and that's fine. As you should. You should want to play them.
Got to play.
They're both exceptionally damn good 3-point shooting teams.
Yes,
That's what those teams are.
Yes, they are.
They're 3-point shooting teams. Tatum can get to the basket. Jalen can get to the basket. We know Giannis can get to the basket. Drew, when he wants to, every now and then.
Right.
But for the most part, those teams are 3-point
Yeah,
shooting
perimeter
teams.
guys.
Perimeter guys. So to Frank's point is where the Sixers, and this is what Darryl and Elton did by bringing in this kid McDaniels, they're setting up for that perimeter defense for the playoffs. Okay. Now, here's what's going to top everything off. A healthy Sixers, a healthy Joel Embiid, Sixers in the fight. That's it for me.
And I think
that's it. A healthy Joe, a healthy Sixers.
I'm going to tell you something. What's happening this week is going to play into that.
I'm cool with him not playing
because he's not playing in the All-Star game.
I'm cool with it. I love his attitude. He's focused right now. He's focused.
I heard something about
like
that was something that was very interesting. Caught my eye about things. He's not playing in the All-Star game, but he's going to be there.
That's fine.
There's a reason for that, because one of the biggest networking circuses, I guess, would be the NBA All-Star game.
Absolutely.
Everyone talks to everyone.
It's a money press.
Also because sneaker deals. He has to go be there. Under Armour.
Well,
that's part of the deal.
And
especially because he's an All-Star.
But he is going, believe me when I tell you, he's going there to have conversations with people that may be interested in coming over to play for the Sixers, whether it's this year or next year. That's how some of these stakes get put into the ground.
Yeah. And the other thing is they got rid of they got some money freed up too by getting rid of Thibault.
Yeah.
They freed up some dough.
And I do wish Thibault all the best.
They're going to trade Toby in the offseason because they can.
Well, right now we got him.
When you look at Toby, it's a contract. The team wants to get rid of. He's only going to have 1 year left. He goes to a team that wants to clear their cap for a year down the road. When this guy's gone, we're going to have that space.
No, I think that when you mentioned Phoenix, here's a problem I have with them. It kind of reminds me of last year when James got here. It was
too late in the season.
It was late in the season, and then think about it. George Niang was our 6th man last year.
Yeah.
Now moving forward, we have our 6th man in Maxey.
Right.
Niang can go just do what he needs to do. Joe, I'm with you. Probably Shake might get some. I see Doc doing 9-10 man rotation in the playoffs, at least the first and second round.
Yeah.
It depends on how it plays out because he has those bodies to play with, and he has those matchups.
It depends on who you face.
Right, you could put Embiid every now and then on Giannis, right? You can put him every now and then on Giannis. I liked when he had Reed and Jalen McDaniels on the court together the other night. That was a nice.
Yeah.
That was a nice mix.
That was a nice mix.
Yeah.
It's athletic, right?
Yeah.
Both
So he has some
athletic,
options.
both athletic, both tall, both lengthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're going to need that. So the thing with Phoenix is this. Their bench, Charles keeps talking about Aiden. I don't know if he's going to buy into that because his role's going to change, right? I don't care what they do.
No, they gotta make that chemistry work really quick.
And the other thing is, no one's talked about this. Their top 3 players are often injured.
Yep.
Yeah.
All 3 of them. Paul, Booker, and Durant.
Yeah, they all.
I'm not
get
wishing
banged up.
injury. You know, I'm
No,
not about
right.
that.
No, they have a history. It's hard to ignore.
I'll add Ayton in there too because he's had history
Yeah.
with injuries too.
So
Well,
when
it's
people
killed
go
them.
all of a sudden
It's
they're going
killed
to
them
win,
the
I'm
last-
like,
it's
God,
killed
I don't
them.
know yet. I
It's
don't
killed
know
them the
about that.
last 2 years in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know
killed
about
them,
that.
Not having the
That's a lot.
bodies available.
But this year, it's wide open because anybody can come out of the West.
Oh my God.
I mean, you know, it's
Well,
going to
we
be
know
It's a
interesting.
brush fire.
We know one team's not coming out of the West. That's the Clippers. Because Westbrook going from the Lakers to the Clippers.
Is he going to the Clippers?
Yeah. He got bought out with the Lakers. He's getting picked up by the Clippers.
Who's this?
Right.
No, didn't he get
Russell.
traded to the Jazz?
Oh, no. Russell Westbrook.
He didn't get bought out yet.
No, he did.
He did.
He did.
He did, so he's just deciding on what he wants to do.
He's going to the Clippers. Yeah.
No, that'd be interesting. Now, you know,
So he's going to ruin 2 LA teams in one season.
you know, yes. You know who looks good, man, and I know no one talks about this, but because if they
Wait,
kept
no.
it, well, I'm going to get it. If they kept this guy, the Sixers wouldn't have to buy us. Mikal Bridges is.
Oh
may have
God.
found-
God.
But here's the thing, though.
No, don't do that.
But here's the thing,
No,
though.
don't
Here's the
do
thing.
that.
It was maybe better for Mikal not to stay in Philly. I think sometimes it's good to go away.
You know, I'm going to piggyback what you just said. Can you see
He
Mikal?
dropped 45 the other
Can
day.
you see like Maury pulling a Howie? What he did with Hassan Reddick
I thought about that
to
because
bring in
he's,
Mikal Bridges?
because he's coming up on free agency. You know,
Is he in his
There you
last
go.
year?
he's coming up. I think he's coming up. I
All
could be
right.
wrong.
They
I
got to
could be
find a way
wrong.
to get rid of Toby.
But the
I want
thing
that
is-
money open.
No, but the thing is that like so because that would be that spot. But that's
Oh.
for whatever. But
It makes him a
that
3-year
team's
player.
going to be interesting. Phoenix gave up way too much.
Everything
Give
but
him
the kitchen
4
sink to
yeah.
him.
4 first-round picks for that guy.
They're going for it this year.
Yeah,
Phoenix.
They're making their run.
So
I don't see them. I don't
my
see them.
biggest issue with Mikal is not an issue with Mikal. It's with the organization.
And by the way, Maury or Elton was not there when this went down.
I
This
get
is a
it.
Brett Brown.
But so
Yeah, Maury
We
would
had-
never
we
let
had
that
our-
happen.
we had our show
He wouldn't let it happen.
before I left to go cross country. We had our show and we did our predictions for who the Sixers were going to draft. And I picked Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
I was
And-
listening to the
and-
draft.
He was the perfect fit.
I was listening.
And hang on. And they drafted him.
Yeah.
And I texted him and Will. I'm like, I got one right. And then they traded.
With
Like-
a minute.
And I'm like, who's that?
Zaire.
Like 8 seconds later.
TK's boy, Zaire.
He's got
I'm
Zaire.
like-
Yeah,
Zaire
Zaire's
Smith.
a
guy-
player.
for a
We
guy
got
who's-
Zaire. He's a good player.
For a guy that's not even playing organized basketball
For a guy
anymore.
who's busting tables at Chicky and Pete's.
But I'm like,
He's running the rec league.
We
Like,
got the best
Wait.
cowboy in the league.
when we had Bridges and he went to Phoenix and I'm seeing how well he's doing.
I got to tell you,
I
though,
was
Will
like, he was in
Will
the
and I
building.
laughed our asses off when he got traded because Joey was like, "Yes, I'm the
But it-
man." I
it
said that.
happened
We were
with-
like,
yeah.
"You were right," and then literally you refreshed it, and it was like, "Oh, Joey."
within minutes. It wasn't even long.
It's
like,
like
we got Zaire.
8 seconds. With like 8 seconds.
I was listening to Devon. He was excited. He's like, my cousin's coming to Philly. And all of a sudden, yeah, man. that
I
was-
mean,
Oh,
but
man.
There's a
That's
guy
a
who was
player.
pissed off about that trade.
I was
Listen,
literally like, he
jeez.
was in the building,
Yeah.
and you let him walk out.
Because if you get him, you don't get the because that.
No,
because
I
don't
don't
need
want to
it.
hear that. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, no, that's
I don't want to hear
you can't
that.
unfold that package anymore.
listen. I'm not. I'm not.
You
crying
make
over
that
it.
Tobias deal work regardless.
Yeah, it's right. But I'm not crying over it. It's just one of those things that Brett was in a peculiar situation because Colangelo had just gotten released. Right? Remember that over the cell phones, over the whatever they call those.
I still don't understand the logic of trading him.
What,
though.
the burner
He was a
phones?
perfect fit.
The
for
burner
team.
accounts on
The
Twitter.
burner accounts, yeah. So I think what happened. This is from what
Poor
Joey
Joey.
knows. That
Poor Joey longs to be right about that.
Oh man.
I
remember,
was right about it.
remember your
That was
boy
the fastest.
Kawhi.
Anybody? That was the fastest anybody ever went from right to wrong I've ever seen. In my life.
Well, no, he was
quick.
right.
He was right.
He was right. They
You
drafted
can't
him.
take, you can't take the right away.
No, he got it right.
he
but
got
he
it
didn't
right.
know that they were
He
going to
didn't
pull
know he
back.
was going to get stabbed in the
So,
back. but he was right.
Joey, might as well you mushed him because you were right.
That's right.
That's what you did. You
So-
pushed him right out of
Joey.
fucking
You
town.
not only mushed him, but you drafted a guy that's not even in the league. And the hopes was we're going to trade him to San Antonio for Kawhi.
You're
So the thing is, though, Frank, why didn't they just go like, okay, why don't we just do what Boston did with Colangelo? Because everyone's still going, we should have had Tatum. I'm saying Ainge was always taking Tatum. That was part of the deal. People
Yeah.
never fathomed it. So why, if that was the case, if they were going to take Zaire for and trade him to
You got to say
the
it right.
Spurs,
Zaire.
then what you would have done was drafted Mikal TK
yeah.
and made all that work, and then trade all that.
I got
I
it.
got the
for
message.
Kawhi.
Who we
That
traded.
it made no sense.
I got the message from a buddy of ours that who we traded to get for Mikal Bridges, and he was like Zaire Smith. Who?
Yeah, he had a good.
Who?
He had
You
a
know,
good,
Joe,
he had a good tournament.
I'm
Mike
sure.
remembers.
I'm sure most people know this about me already, but I will say, the pain in your face from that situation always brings a smile to me.
And he's not even a Villanova fan.
That's just
No, I'm a Temple guy.
I know.
really
I
sadistic,
know, Joe. I know.
You
Joe.
are sadistic.
I know, Joe. You don't go. You don't wear that cologne on the main line, Joe.
How you can take such joy from
You don't wear that cologne, Joe, on the
friend's
main line.
pain. Just tells me
Oh, man.
what kind of individual you are.
I am waiting.
Completely debased
I-
morality.
I am waiting for Mikal Bridges to go to the Knicks so that he could be together with Hart and Brunson.
I do have good news for you about Mikal. I found out. This is his words. He's not a Birds fan.
What do you mean?
He's not an Eagles fan. They were interviewing him after he got traded.
Kel Bridges is an Eagles fan?
He's no. They
Well, where's he
interviewed-
from initially?
They interviewed him right after he got traded. He and Cam Johnson were at the game. They they have to wait till everything's approved. And it's like they were like the Eagles. He's like,
Isn't he a Virginia guy? Wasn't he born and raised in Virginia?
he's from Philly.
He was born and raised in Philly?
Yeah, isn't he
He's from
Devon
Philly.
Gibbons' cousin?
Devon Gibbons' cousin. He's
Yeah,
from
but that doesn't
Philly.
mean he's from Philly. Where did he play high school ball?
What are those schools outside? Oh, he played at what are these schools around here? He's from.
And he doesn't like the Eagles.
And did you see your
That's a
boy?
bad
Oh, did
question.
you see your
Well, you
boy?
know what? You know what?
See
Wait,
Rasheed
wait,
Wallace?
wait.
Did you see Rasheed
Oh,
Wallace?
that moron. That moron. Listen. Bryce Harper's a Cowboys fan. I don't have a problem with that.
No, he's a Vegas fan. He's
No,
a
he's
Golden Knights fan.
no, he's not. He's a Cowboys fan. He grew up a Cowboys fan.
No, that's fine. But if you're
Right,
from
but he's a Golden
if
Knight
you're
Mikel went to
from-
Great Valley High School.
Green Valley High School.
Great Valley High School.
Where's that?
Out Great Valley's out like 202.
Garnet?
It's out
Yeah,
in
he's out
Valley
there.
Forge. It's out in
Garnet?
Valley
Yeah.
Forge.
It's in the
Great
area.
Valley.
Yeah, Devon.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're
I've heard
his,
of
his
Garnet
brother, his
Valley.
brother and my son were ranked at AAU when they had me booked together, whatever. But his brother stopped playing ball, I think. But the thing is, whatever. You're not an Eagles fan,
Right.
but
Can
I
he
think.
play on the court? Yes, he can.
Like,
So what? I don't want him anyway.
Nah, I don't want him. He doesn't have Eagles.
Go Birds.
I don't get if you're not from if you're from the area. I don't get.
No,
that.
I mean,
I'm
Do
not-
that's
you
all part of it.
understand that I graduated Temple and this is a guy from Villanova and I'm rooting for the Nova cat?
brother, I
Also
know.
graduated from Wider and 4 other schools. Which one are you picking today, jackass?
He's still.
Joe, I just think that it speaks of your objectivity.
I respect it. I'm giving you a hard time. I
No.
respect. I know how much you wanted this guy. I
No,
I live
brought
that.
up.
he was the
every
perfect
time.
fit. He was the perfect
Guy
fit.
is-
Every time he's brought up, I'm like, it's the guy that we could have. I don't even harp on Tatum
Nah,
as badly as I do.
And in my defense,
you can't
Frank,
harp on Tatum because he was.
you
never
should
come
see
here.
when I'm wrong about shit.
Oh, no,
how the
no.
joy that he gets out of
I've
it.
seen
You
you. I've
better
seen you.
believe.
I've seen
Chris
you be here
Hogan.
on the show when you've been wrong and he's been rubbing it in.
Yeah.
You squirm, which is hard for you to do. It's squirming.
So with the Sixers, TK, what are you feeling? What are you seeing? What are you?
I
know what you want. I mean, that's.
I mean, I think we all want the same thing. This is as good a year as any chance that they've had to get deeper than losing in the second round. the depth on the bench is really going to be the key this year.
Yes.
And the health of the team going into the playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of common sense, but that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And
No,
if they can go into the off season, into the postseason relatively healthy,
Yeah.
and the depth on the bench, if Doc puts the right guys in the right position,
Yeah.
Therein lies the problem.
which therein lies the problem at times.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Listen, he's on the clock. The health issues are on the clock. Like everything is on the yeah, it's the situation at hand. So but I feel for what I feel like this is the best opportunity that Joe's had in a while.
Here's my problem.
to do something. So I'm
And I heard Cuz talk about this. Here's my problem with Doc, and I felt this all along. You think Sirianni gets the fans?
Yep.
Yeah.
Doc does not.
You think Thompson gets the fans?
100%.
Think Doc gets the fans?
but here's the thing about it. Doc doesn't care about that.
That's
Even
my point.
Torts. Even
And
Torts
you know what?
gets the
And you know
fans.
what?
Well,
And you
Court,
know
yeah.
what? You know what? I'm kind of okay with it because
Not me. Not me.
you know why?
Not me.
I'm gonna tell you why.
I'm not.
I'm okay with
Brett
it.
Brown got the fans more than Doc
You
does.
know what? If you don't care about the Philadelphia fans,
But he does.
who
He
will
had his,
literally,
he had his
will
Philly
literally
thing shirt
open
on.
veins.
He
and
said go
bleed
Eagles.
out
He
to
said,
win.
But he said go
Okay.
Eagles. He had his Philly. It's a Philly thing shirt.
Come on, man.
But listen,
Come on, man.
listen, the
That's
guy-
pandering.
He's
That's
soft.
pandering.
He's soft like drugstore cotton.
He never showed. He never showed any affection to the fans
None.
until the Eagles are in the Super Bowl, and then he shows up with no, man. No,
I agree.
every
listen,
other coach
I-
in this town
It's-
sees
He
the
was
fans.
supporting the
Wait,
Eagles.
wait, hold
He
on.
said we're going to win.
Here's how
He said the Eagles were
some
gonna win. Hold it, Frank. Hold it.
some
He
people
said the Eagles are going to win, and that was genuine.
hold on, but some people look at it as like I'm not going to pander to these people. If
Right.
they don't like me, they don't like me.
Right.
So maybe Doc's in that mentality, like I'm not going to change who I am or how
Yeah,
I
that's
act.
what it is, and I get it because you have to understand, man.
It gives me that feeling.
For
My
him-
point is that Doc doesn't care so much about what happens here as what it's going to mean to him later.
Yeah.
That's
I wouldn't go as
that's-
far as that.
Yeah.
I think it's more of, and I think that was genuine when he was supporting the Eagles. I believe that.
not me.
I mean, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, I believe that when he said the Eagles are going to win, he would have. It's a Philly thing shirt. I think for him, because there's a perception of this city, right? We're from here. We live it. We talk about it. We do sports podcasts about it, right? That he had an armor. He has armor.
Hang on.
I think he came in with this armor, and
Dame.
maybe unscrew the bolt, but he's not letting it down.
Right.
And I think for him, in order to get over that, real quick, he has to win. I think once he wins, all bets are off.
Let me ask you a question, Dave.
But
If-
I think it's more of that.
If Al walked into this studio right now and
Yeah.
handed you an Edge of Philly Sports
Mhm.
T-shirt
Mhm.
and said, "Dame, can you wear this on your show?" You would say yes.
Sure.
Okay. Does that mean that you are just the rah-rah? Do you really care?
No, I mean,
No,
I
yes
don't,
and
I don't,
no. It's a
I don't
free
want. I don't
shirt.
need. I don't need him painting his face green with eagle wings on it. I don't need that from him. But if the guy's acknowledging,
Would help.
if the guy, because if the guy, because he's already acknowledging he's a part of it. He's not a stick to it.
We
He's
can
not-
hook him up with
You
Jamie.
know, I mean, I don't know. He's not that type of guy. He's not going to do that. If you're looking, he's from Chicago. You know, he has some warts, and I see him. I understand it, and you know,
yeah,
that's how
but
he
he's
rocks.
been in L. He's
As long as
been
he
in,
winning games, man.
Steve is absolutely correct,
'cause
by
it-
the way.
here's
he's
the
been
thing.
in LA too long. Dame.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna keep it a bean. Does Rob Thompson really excite you?
He doesn't
No.
have to.
Exactly. Say it again.
He doesn't have to.
But you need Doc Rivers to excite you about the Eagles. Do you really?
Yeah, well, Doc Rivers right now and his team are on a run where they've been getting bounced in the second round of the playoffs
Okay.
for 5 years.
Okay.
Rob Thompson took the Phils to the World Series last year.
Absolutely.
You could be the
After-
most boring human being on planet Earth as long as you win.
To my point. So when
after
Doc
Rob
takes us to the
Thompson-
finals,
After
boom,
Rob
Doc
Thompson,
Rivers,
all
yay!
bets are off. That's
I'm
what,
gonna-
after Rob Thompson took over
Yep.
a wreck of a team.
Let me ask you a
It
question.
wasn't a
wasn't a
dreck.
dreck of a
It
team.
wasn't a dreck of
All
a
right,
team.
here you go. I'm gonna
It was
That
a
wasn't
team
a
that was being
I'm
mismanaged.
gonna
by,
put this.
fair
I'm
point,
gonna
fair
put
point.
this in perspective.
Uh-huh.
When the Eagles lost the Super Bowl,
yeah.
was Sirianni accountable?
They all were.
Yeah.
Okay. When the Phillies lost the World Series, was Thompson accountable?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You will never hear an interview anywhere where Doc is accountable for them losing in 2 successive second rounds. Doc will not accept responsibility. And you know what? In Philadelphia, that don't cut shit with me.
That doesn't cut with you.
Get
I mean,
out.
Well, I
Get
don't want him to get
out.
out. I need him right now.
I didn't want him here. I didn't want him here 2 years ago. I didn't like him then.
If you want him gone, just have Joey get a Doc Rivers jersey. I promise you, we'll be out of here before the end of the season.
Joey, next week you got to show up with Doc Rivers, Coach of the Year.
Yes.
Listen, you're not my brother, my friends. You guys feel. I honestly, I don't get y'all.
He
anger
obfuscates.
towards him.
He obfuscates
you're not
a
the
loss.
only one.
Look. If you take him out, Dame, until they make it past the second round of the damn playoffs, you could take him out and put anyone you want in there. They're going to get that same visceral reaction. Brett Brown got it too.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily the figurehead.
It's the situation. I agree.
It's the coach.
Right.
You can't get us past this. We don't like you. We don't like you. We don't like
Tom was calling for Brett Brown's head for a year.
I agree.
On this show,
A
year.
Yeah.
I was the one saying, "Well, who are you going to bring in?"
Exactly, and he was, and I would try and like, it's not about, and he would like, give me names, and he wasn't wrong, but obviously what Brett Brown was doing and his philosophy, like, only got you so far.
Right. Well, yeah. No. Brett Brown.
Brett Brown did what they needed him to do.
When you think about this, and Ala talked about this, and I'm glad he mentioned it the other night because he was here for it. Those Brett Brown teams, Joey, really played hard. They were in almost every game. The problem
were incapable
was
of winning, but they played hard.
Yeah, Joe wasn't to where he is now. He was young, right?
Right.
Ben was whatever Ben, but now, so moving forward, they didn't have a closer. Now moving forward, they have that, right? But at the time, Brett was brought in here for a particular reason, and it was time. It was time for change. And now he's being groomed. He's going to take over the Spurs apparently. He's going to.
Brett Brown is?
Yeah. Their talk is that whenever Pop, because Brett's on the coaching staff with the Spurs. He's just a coach with them now. So whenever Pop leaves, the word is Brett's going to take over.
All right, listen, I got some stuff to do today. I got to cut out of here, but before we do, take a little bit of time here to talk about this baseball season that's coming up.
Oh yeah.
Before we get out of here,
Trey Turner, don't park your car near Clearwater. First hit, he hits a car in the parking lot.
Really? Is that what happened?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. They all yelled, "Car!"
Oh my God! I did not hear that. That's awesome.
That's
First swing.
First swing.
Wow.
Back in the old,
Yes.
Back in the old neighborhood, it would have been like as soon as you heard the window crack break, you run, scatter. So as soon as that window breaks on the windshield of that car, everybody runs.
Well, no, they got the money that they can pay for. None of us did.
He hit the ball before it left the park. The players were yelling "car."
He just crushed it.
Crushed.
I didn't realize he had power like that. I knew he had power, but like that's big time power.
Yeah.
And him and Schwarber.
He might have caught wind down there because it's windy.
All right, real quick. Schwarber leading off your team next year?
No.
Trey Turner is.
You think Turner's going to?
Yeah, he's already said it.
Beautiful.
Thompson's already said he's putting him in the leadoff spot.
Put Schwarber at second.
Joey doesn't like it.
Joey
doesn't like it.
I think with Harper, Schwarber's got to go to 3 or 4.
That's when Harper comes. I think Trey's going to lead off when Harper comes back. I don't think that Trey's going to lead off while Harper's out. I think Schwarber's going to lead off.
That would be dumb.
But right now, it's the only asset you have. It's the only thing that works too, because it worked last year.
Yeah, it did. But if you have him in the 4 hole when Harper is not here, with people on base, it could be even better.
I don't disagree, but I just don't think that for the time, because then, eventually, where do you kind of run into a predicament if you put Schwarber at the 4 and Turner at the 1 while Harper's out?
So
where do you put Harper?
3.
Yeah.
3 when he comes back.
Put
Harper at 3.
Here's another little gem.
And then Reese, I would slide Reese.
Stott was taking grounders at second base, and Thompson asked him, "Where do you want to play? Where are you going to feel most comfortable play?" He said, "In the major league."
They don't care.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And Alec Bohm, 10 pounds heavier.
Yeah,
His
put
lower
some muscle on.
his
Put
lower
some muscle.
body is beefed up.
But now,
His legs look like tree trunks.
so they straightened out
Oh,
Harper's
man.
arm from the surgery. Like, so,
Yeah.
it's straight. So now the next thing is to start hitting off, not the mound, but the tees. Thank you, Frank. And so the plan, TK, is that after when they get to that point, ramp that up. They'll determine, afterwards swelling the whole shebang. Right.
They're
And-
not worried about him throwing. Right
Nah.
now.
So that's why the arm is. They want to get that straight 1st,
Mhm.
right? And then you're right. They're not worried about throwing. So now they're talking. If all goes well,
End of
maybe a
May.
return after the All-Star break.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
I
that's
heard
the
end of May.
projection.
End of May, beginning of June.
I heard
that as well. But
I
it
heard
depends on the
June
stuff
into
off the
July.
tape. Yeah, it depends on his
And-
reaction after that.
Because their perspective is they don't need to rush him back as much as they need him for the long.
no. They got enough dogs to hold it down until he gets back.
Well, they proved
No
that.
problem.
They proved that last
Yeah,
year.
no problem.
And from what I've heard, Derek Hall has been
Hey, lefties.
no, well, he's been he hired a new hitting coach, like a private one. He's apparently gotten a lot better.
And
What?
in
Because he sees an opportunity
in
on
a
the
couple
horizon.
in a
Yeah.
couple of
He's gotta hit
months,
lefties. That's it, Frank.
this
Lefties, he's
this
fine.
bullpen got real legit real fast.
Oh,
Nebraska-
yeah.
On paper,
This is-
on paper.
Look, this is why I
This
said
bullpen's
you weren't
scary.
you weren't here last week,
Right.
when I made my prediction. I said the Phillies, 94 wins, they win the division. They're going to the World Series again.
Oh man.
There's
Man,
not-
what
There's not going to be a 100-win team in baseball this year.
You don't think so?
Nope. There will not be a 100-win team in baseball. And Dombrowski has built a pitching staff that goes 9 guys deep.
So what are we doing with Painter? What
Painter?
are we doing? What are we doing, Frank? Talk to me. We're painting the picture.
Painter's going to get Rookie of the Year.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I saw Frank's number. 18
What?
to 20 victories.
Painter's going to get Rookie of the Year.
18 to 20 victories?
16 minimum.
Ooh. Wow.
Because
Man.
he's
Joey,
pitching.
you want to take the
He's
over or
pitching.
the under?
He's pitching in the 5-hole, and he's going to be pitching against 5-hole pitchers.
Well, the safe bet is the under, but I want to take the over. I mean, the safe bet's under 16, but I'll take the over because that's more exciting.
Yeah. Well, smarter to take the under.
So he's gonna. Is
Nobody
Right,
accused you of smarts.
Well, no,
Is he
no,
the
You and
fourth?
that, you and that bulb in the box thing. But
no,
Is he the fourth or
no, he's the 5th.
fifth? He's the
Fifth.
He's the 5th.
because
he's the
it's gonna go.
I don't know whether you guys have saw the
Wheeler,
projection on the odds of Cy Youngs.
Wheeler, and Nola.
The Phillies have
Two.
3 guys in the top 20 with their odds for Cy Young awards.
And I saw that Wheeler and Nola were like in the
Top 10.
10.
Top 10.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think they're going to have a slow start.
Not me.
Really?
Not me.
I don't know why I got a feeling.
I
Well,
think they're-
Kyle Schwarber will.
Yeah,
Someone's got to tell him it's June.
Castellanos didn't even show up the first week. He's just, I don't know.
Castellanos didn't even
He's-
show up.
I
the season.
you
They
know
didn't show up
what?
this
I'm
season.
expecting
I
a
feel
big
a
year out
bounce
of
back.
Castellanos.
I feel a bounce back.
He's
out
done
of
it
him.
he's done it every place he's gone. Castellanos is going to have a great
I
year.
I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. That doesn't mean they're going to be like the basement when I say slow start.
One week from today is your first spring training.
Yeah,
game.
I can't, man. Baseball just
Wait,
Phillies
wait,
Tiger.
hang on though.
94
I don't
wins,
get it-
they
I don't
win the
get a
division.
breather.
Wait,
They go back to the World
this
Series.
is my concern. Aaron Nola always has one good season, one bad season. He had one good season last year. Is this his bad season?
No,
That's what I worry
I don't
about.
think so.
this is first year stretching into the playoffs. I expect more.
You're going to see. Here's what you're going to see. All those guys, whether they're pitching no hitters or not, they're all coming out of the game in the 6th inning.
I don't know
That's their
about
6th
that. If he's got a no hitter going,
Does
that's-
Reese Hoskins finish the year? TK?
No,
No, you think
As
they'll
a
move him?
Philly,
No.
no.
Nah, probably not.
So
No,
by
I don't
the
know
trade
about that.
deadline, he's going James.
I
Well,
don't know. I mean,
The interesting thing is he refused
there's
arbitration
a deal there.
and he signed the contract. So like there
He signed
wasn't-
the arbitration contract.
No,
No,
he
did not.
refused
He
the
refused it.
arbitration.
I'm sorry. Yes.
And then he signed a regular
Speaking of
contract.
arbitration,
So he took a little less money,
Uh-huh.
but I think that was by intent. I think he took less money so that they have more leverage to be able to move him. Because otherwise it's going to just be walking him out the door
yeah.
at the end of the season. And I I don't see Dabrowski giving up a perfectly good asset like him for nothing.
No. That's why I raised the question. So, at that point, you'll probably know what you would need as far as and Marsh gained weight too. He put some muscle on too. At that
He was
point,
working on the sideline with Schwarber on his swing. It was awesome to watch.
yeah. At that point, you'll have an idea what you may need to add to get you over the hump. It'll be interesting. It's going to be a fun season. I'm going to get some more games.
I still
this year
think you need an outfield.
I agree with you, Joey.
Feel like
did you hear about the
Until
arbitration?
Bryce comes back, yeah, definitely.
Did you hear about the arbitration thing that happened in Milwaukee with their
Soto?
No, who's their best pitcher? The guy who's Cy Young contender.
Woodruff.
Woodruff.
No, it wasn't Woodruff. Anyway, they went to the arbitration, and Milwaukee said this guy in arbitration with the guy sitting in. He's the reason we didn't make the playoffs.
That's BS.
They did it right in arbitration.
That's BS. The reason why you guys didn't make the playoffs is because you guys cut bait with Hader and other people that could have gotten
They
you over
blamed
the
him in
finish
arbitration.
Well,
They
listen,
blamed this guy in
Hold up,
arbitration.
real quick, Joey. Machado said he's not
He wants
going
out.
Joey, would you do it?
No. He's freaking poison.
Wow.
No,
I'm good.
because I heard something else that it's
Sorry,
that's
Dave, I
more.
didn't know yet.
That's
Whoa.
more.
No.
I heard something more.
Yo,
tasty.
look at what Steve said. Just as Damon.
That's
was
what I
saying
was
that.
thinking.
Look at that, Manny
That's what I
Machado
was
for
thinking.
Hoskins.
So,
That's what I was thinking.
but I have
I don't
heard
know, I don't
something
like it.
even tastier
Sorry,
than
Steve, I
that.
don't like it, buddy.
Tatis wants out of San Diego.
Hmm.
I want Tatis for Hoskins.
You're not going to
'Cause you-
get Tatis for Hoskins. You're going to have to empty the pitching arms in the minor league. to get that. And I ain't into
and
that.
Painter.
No, I heard another thing. Mike
'Cause-
Trout wants out of California.
Oh, really? Now he does. Don't get Joey. You know what, Mike Trout? Go fishing.
No
Go
shit,
fishing
Joe.
for some trout.
Yo,
Seriously.
Mike.
Dude, come on, dude.
We rolled out the red carpet for you.
Come on, man.
And you slapped us in the face.
Come on, man.
No, he didn't slap us in the face, dude. They slapped $400 million
Yeah,
on the
come
table.
on, man.
I'm sorry,
That's not
Joe.
a slap in
That's
the
not a
face.
slap in the face. It's like I got to get paid.
Somebody offered you
He
400.
would have been a king in this town.
Somebody
He's still
offered
gonna be
you
a king when he
$400
gets
million to go to
He could have
another
left 4
show.
years
You
ago,
say,
Frank.
guys, I love you. I'm
Yeah.
fucking
left
out
4
of here.
years
I mean,
ago,
I love Pattison Ave Phanatics, but if you know, they write me a check, I'm
You
out.
could have left 4 years
Yeah.
ago, Frank. Give me that.
I invented it.
Nah, I'm
They
with
write me a
Joey.
check, I'm out.
I'm with Joey. You could have left 4 years ago.
He would look really good in
Oh,
left
yeah,
field.
Look, all
See,
I
from the
know
Eagles
is
game,
He would look awesome in left
all
field.
I know is the Phillies are going to be a hot ticket this year. And speaking of tickets, Sherry's Tickets
Oh,
out.
sir.
Great prices, no hidden fees, sports, concerts, theater. And if you use the promo code EOP10, save 10% off at the time of purchase. The price you see is the price you get at www.sherrystickets.com.
And you know
Family-owned and
what's-
operated since 1946.
And you know what's even better than that,
Eminem,
Tom?
no Manny Machado.
And you know what's even better than that? Better than Sherry's tickets? You could go to phillysportstrips.com and book any one of those Phillies road games
Hell yeah.
and get a
He's
great
poison.
package for the weekend.
He's like, he's poison.
I keep
too.
on forgetting we got Craig Kimbrell too.
Poison.
Yes.
That
there's the
guy's
time.
gonna
Listen,
be really good.
listen, guys. Great show today. As
I needed this show. Thank you.
as
man.
per the
Laugh.
usual, it definitely helped
Cathartic.
with it definitely helped with the
Can't spell that word.
with the cathartic nature of what we needed today.
Yeah.
But for Joe Marks, James Scores at Damon Salim, my man Frank Finnegan, and Joe Scores, I'm Tom Kelly. This is Pattison Ave Phanatics Show. We're out.
Bye-bye.